So we're going to start with the Radalm frame. These cost around €17 from IKEA, but you can use a frame of your choice of a similar dimension. The reason this one is quite nice is there is a space here between the front perspex and the actual frame, and this is where I'm going to mount the cob lighting LEDs. So I'm going to open it up and then I'm going to make a space for the LEDs to fit. So now I've taken the backing and the perspex from the frame, and we're now left just with the frame itself and this little spacer here. And here is where I'm going to run the LEDs around. But what I need to do, I need to be able to get through here with the cable to come out of here. So I'm going to cut a little space here to allow the wire to come through. However, what I've found while making other frames is sometimes when you start to cut this groove, these are only stuck together fairly loosely. So I'm going to actually just staple these together just to give them strength. It's an optional step, but I find it saves a little bit of heartache later. Now you can see, just by using a Stanley knife, I have cut the corner off, and then I've cut into here to allow the cable to fit. So the idea is here, we've got the cob lighting. This will allow me to stick the cob lighting on and then thread this through here and upwards to actually leave the frame. So now you can see how this works. So the cob lighting goes into here, and then the cable passes through underneath and out to the back of the frame. Now the nice thing about this cob lighting, it already has adhesive on it, so I'm just going to peel this off and then stick it along the inside edge of this trim. So now you can see I've mounted the cob lighting all around the inside of the frame and just stuck it down, and we get to the end. Now you may be asking, why do I use cob lighting rather than just standard LEDs, which can be cheaper? I think you would regret using standard LEDs. The cob lighting tends to be more diffused, so it gives an even light. I mean, if you want that effect of, pinpoints of LED light, then go for it, but I prefer the cob lighting. Now once you get to the end, you're going to have to cut this cob lighting, and all you need to do is look on the back and you'll see points where it's safe to cut. Okay. And all you need to do is, you can actually see it's a bit faint here, but you can see there, if you look close there, you can see a point where it can be cut, and you just want to choose the closest that will give you a nice finish at the end, and you just cut it with a pair of scissors and you're good to go. Now the next step, you can see I've put the frame all together again with the backdrop mounted, and I'll show that later. But the next step is purely optional, but I would say if you're going to be use this frame for a heavier car, definitely do this. The reason being is there's going to be a lot of lateral weight on this frame area here that's going to be pushing against the bottom edge, which you can see these frames are only held together, just pinned together. Now I'm sure they will be fine, but what I do, I just put one of these corner braces in here, just push it in, screw it in, and it will mean that this cannot pull away. It will also keep the frame, more square. So there's not much weight on the Speed Champs, so you could probably get away without these, but I had some of these left from a previous project, so I'm going to use them. So now you can see we've got all of the corner brackets mounted, so this should be fairly solid now. And if I turn it over, you can see we've got it all framed. But the next step now is to actually mount these brackets. So the front wheels of the F1 cars are going to sit here, and I'm just going to mount these in position for each car. Now I'm just going to use nano tape to just stick these to here, because the cars are not very heavy at all. However, you can see there's a hole in here that you could actually put a screw in, and I may do that as well. Now, I 3D printed these, but you can purchase them as well on AliExpress, and you will need 10 of them for all 10 cars, obviously. So now you can see I've got the first set of supports on here, and the idea is these can just sit in to position, and then they'll be suspended like this. So once these are positioned, I'm then going to mount LEDs underneath all of these vehicles to match the colour of their livery. So, you know, I've got orange, magenta, red, etc. And the idea is I'll be running LEDs stuck to the board along this length and along here. So if I just remove this, they'll be like a T shape that will be hidden underneath the vehicle, but will hopefully create a nice underglow to each vehicle to match the livery colour. So here is how I'm doing the optional undercar illumination. So I've got LEDs of various different colours to match the livery of each vehicle. So in this case this is white LEDs, then there will be blue LEDs for this one, green for this one, for example. So all I've done is made a T shaped in LEDs, and this will sit underneath the car. So this sits under the front wing there, and then the full length of the car, and it will just stick into place onto the frame. And then here there'll just be a small hole drilled that this will pass through to the back of the frame, which will use the same power as the perimeter illumination. So you can now see it's complete. So you can see now the LEDs mounted. Now what I will say about these LEDs, it's quite a bit of work to do these LEDs, and it doesn't really create that much of effect once the cars are in. It blocks most of the light, but it just gives a subtle glow. So I will show you what it looks like. It's all finished with just a barrel connector. So the adapter for I'm using 12 volts, but you can get 5 volts if you prefer. And then I will just give you a view of what it looks like on. So now you can see all of the illumination on. And now you can see it complete with all the cars and illuminated. So you can see that accent lighting just popping through there. I'll just position that one a little bit further that way. So you've now got all of the tracks for that particular season, and then all of the cars, and that's complete.